Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Christina Prokos. She is an author, a renowned psychic medium, a spiritual teacher, shaman, shadow worker, inner child worker, and also a soul retrieval worker. Welcome, Christina. How you doing today?
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I am honored to have you here. Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I am so excited to have you and to jump in and share about all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, as well as a bit about your story, your journey. So with that being said, let us jump right in.
Sounds great.
Now, I want to start off and jump right into the whole spiritual bit, the 5D, 4D, all of that stuff, all of that beautiful stuff. I'm very curious, though, to hear how your spiritual journey began. Was there a catalyst moment in your life that led you down the spiritual path? And if so, would you mind sharing that with us?
Since I was a kid, actually, I could tune into and read energy, and I had like extrasensory abilities. So it was already kind of innate in me. And I had I didn't register it at the time because the veil is so thin, see deceased loved ones, assess certain situations with people. But when you're little, you don't comprehend that. And I did get pulled away from it, obviously, as I got older. There was a catalyst moment in my life because every time that I tried to move into doing things the normal way or trying to find a career path or a job or go to school, it just kept pulling me back into helping people, attuning to certain experiences, having a lot of psychic hits show up. And then eventually I couldn't ignore the information that was being consistently told towards me. You need to be helping people. You need to be moving into this direction. I would hear my guides. I would hear my spiritual team, but I thought, was there something wrong with me? Because I'm hearing all these messages and I don't know what to do with them. Eventually, I got sick. I ended up at 27. It was almost like a burnout. I got shingles at the age of 27, which was very uncommon for...
No kidding. It's usually older people.
Yeah, exactly. It's very uncommon. And I got it in a really bizarre spot. I got it on the right side of my arm. And it literally took me out for 9 months. And it was like, I couldn't go and do the things that were normal anymore. I was actually forced to sit and be home. I blew up my whole entire life. Like I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking, I stopped hanging out with the groups of people that I was hanging out with. I quit my job. There was a whole reset of my whole entire life. And with that, I was like, okay, what's one thing that I can tangibly do to make myself feel better? And from when I was really little, I used to meditate. I used to love meditating. Like I would just sit in a little corner and I would just be with myself and focus on my breathing. But I didn't register it at the time when you're little. That's meditation.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, what's one tangible thing that I can reduce my stress with? And it was meditation, which then made me hear more of my guides. And then there was like, okay, go pick up this book, go have this experience, go listen to this conversation. There was so many synchronizations that would occur that felt like weird at the time, but they made sense as to it teaching me more about me being a psychic medium at the time and
Yeah.
being able to read people. It started off incrementally because I was not confident in it. And I didn't have a teacher or guide to help me or a mentor through that process. It was more just me listening to my guides.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big thing was getting sick, and that reset my whole entire experience. And then finally acknowledging this is who I am and this is what I do. And all right, I guess we're going all in. Let's figure this all out. Yeah.
How was that though as a kid? Did you feel like you were an outcast, a weirdo? Who did you have
I
to
still
talk
feel
to?
like I'm a weirdo, yes.
But who did you have to talk to and share these things that
I
you were
didn't
experiencing? A
have
lot to
anybody.
shoulder as a
Yeah,
kid.
I was I would say like a very depressed and sad kid throughout my whole entire childhood. And yes, there was a lot of dysfunction in my family dynamics as well that didn't make it easy to ground myself enough to be able to understand what all of this was, and also to go to someone and ask questions. There was a lot of dismissing it. There was a lot of, that's just what it is. However, there were moments with my grandmother, and there were moments where my family would believe in like dreams and like premonitions. And my grandmother would often get these dreams and premonitions. So I knew that it ran in the family. I just didn't necessarily understand the full capacity of it at that time. My dad is also, I think, very intuitive. My aunt's also very intuitive. My sister also has it, but they don't acknowledge it. They don't actually deal with it. They don't even go there.
I
But
think that's true with a lot of people, though. They
yeah.
push it away, and
Mhm.
especially when you discover this as a kid, the conditioning of the 3D world. Oh, no, you're crazy. That's bullshit. No, I don't believe it. All of the things that it gets conditioned out of us. It's up to us to bring ourselves back and regain the trust within ourselves and relearn to trust our intuitions,
Yeah.
our
Oh,
intuitive hits,
yeah.
all of that stuff.
I have to give my friends in high school credit because they were the ones that were like, you're like a little witch. Like the things you say and the things that you're putting, like it happened. What is happening? And I'd be like, hey, I'm just very intuitive. This is what this is. But at the time, I didn't understand the mediumship component because I would get high levels of anxiety when I would be around certain people, and I would feel physical ailments of deceased loved ones. I had shut off my intuition at that time. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s when someone approached me who was highly intuitive themselves and said, do you know who you are? And I was just, what are we talking about here? But I knew what he was talking about. Because you're wasting your time here in this job. You need to be, I was working at the bank at the time.
Wow.
And they're like, you're wasting your time here. You need to be helping people. You're going to save people and really heal. And I was like, I knew what he meant, but at the same time, I thought to myself, that's odd. Who just walks up to someone and says something like that? And then that was also a big moment in my life too, because it was like a stream of information coming in.
Stream of downloads, yeah.
And it was like, okay, you're on now. It was like he just flipped the switch.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He was like, here it is. We're flipping the switch back on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
That is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you really embrace your gifts and start to use them to help people?
28 years old. That doesn't mean
after you're sick, after you got over your illness.
Sick. Yeah. After I got sick and I went on my own journey of healing, like I said, meditating, connecting, learning more about the chakras, understanding my mediumship, understanding all these other aspects of myself, people started showing up at my front door. I'm not kidding you. It's literally people were like at my front door. My parents at the time, because I was living with them, were like, what is happening? And I was just like, this is what I'm doing now.
Christina?
Yeah. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to give this person a message. And they're like, what do you mean you're going to what is happening right now? It was so bizarre to them. And I give my parents credit too. Like my parents were so good at letting me and my sister decide what you want out of your life, what you want to do out of your experiences, who you want to become. You're going to make mistakes. Just go with it. If you feel this is something that feels good for you, then so be it. And there was that aspect of obviously them questioning it too, because we're all these strangers and what's happening right now. But they were like, okay, I guess this is what you're doing now. And there was, and I've been nonstop for 15 years now. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so before you became the teacher, the medium, the shaman, all of these things, who did you have to become for yourself first?
I had to do a lot of inner child trauma for sure. I had to really understand my level of trauma, my level of fragmentation for me to really understand my ability and my gifts. I couldn't just help people without understanding the capacity of what these wounds were and how people were showing up in front of me. So I had to reparent myself in a lot of ways. I had to really dive deep in my pain and in my depression and in my anxieties and really trust that I was going to be safe, that I was going to be okay. With that too, I also had to develop thick skin because there's a lot of rejection that comes with this. Like I said, I'm a weirdo, obvious. People are going to look at this and be like, I think it's more accessible now and more people understand more of it. But at the time, there wasn't any of that. There was friends of mine thought that there was something wrong with me. They thought maybe I was schizophrenic at one point. They're like, she's having a psychosis. Like, what's happening? So I really had to take all of this information, figure who I was, and own those parts of me. And the better I got at that, the more confident I got with my intuition and the better I got with moving in the direction of creating this, not just as a person of service, but as a business as well.
I think it is becoming more acceptable and more accepted in the world, but I think that there's still, because there's a ton of spiritual people in my community, and there's still a lot of fear or shame and all of the things that come along with it. So they're still hiding in that spiritual closet, so to speak, and they don't want to come out and speak about it because you're crazy. What the hell's wrong with you? You're out of your mind. What the hell are you talking about? I think the more conversations like this that we have, you have a podcast as well, and the more we talk about it, it helps to normalize it so that people know this is natural. People have these gifts. I think we all have.
For sure. I think religion plays a significant role in that
for
too.
Sure.
I mean, there's so many limitations and belief systems with that as well. And then we are also conditioned to want a sense of belonging in a community. And it's very difficult to think about trauma itself when we're looking at trauma, to recognize the dysfunction in the family dynamics and to disown those parts. You're going to be exiled. You're not going to be part of that community anymore. Add on top of that new belief systems, new ways of operating with looking at your limitations. You're going to disown all those aspects. And most people are scared of that feeling of the unknown and feeling of walking alone through that journey.
Being an outcast.
100%.
Sure.
And that's what it felt like for me too. I am an outcast. I do things, I am alone, even though I have a great community of people. I've built a community around me. I did that because I was alone.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I give people a home for the people that have been outcast and do believe in this and don't know what to do with it?
That's it. It's about finding those people, finding your soul tribe and the heart-minded people to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Key. What did your spiritual awakening really look like behind the scenes? Like the messy parts, the magic, and the moments that made you question everything?
That was tough because I think everyone has this assumption when it comes to a spiritual awakening that it's a beautiful process, and it really isn't. It's like a dark night of the soul, a tower moment. It's like everything in your life is falling apart and you have no control over it. You don't know what to do with that. You thought you knew yourself, and now you're hitting a new layer of awakening to who you could be, the potential of what is, and then you have to pivot and look at all the experiences that have caused you pain and then integrate these aspects of yourself. It was not an easy process. It wasn't. I didn't have a strong sense of who I was anyways. And then I had to really sit with that and examine how far I rejected myself and how much I had a lot of self-hatred and anger. And that's the shadow aspect of things. So I was thrown into looking at all my shadows and all my deep, big feelings and wounds, shame, guilt, rejection, loneliness, all of that. And that was hard and that was difficult because I was navigating that alone. Even though I knew my spiritual team was there, like I had an awareness that I wasn't alone. But from a third dimensional perspective, you definitely feel like nobody's getting it. Nobody's understanding it. So it wasn't an easy transition, but I love the fact that I went through it the first time because as you're going through your spiritual awakenings, you're always going to be met with the dark night of the soul and a tower moment and then a reconditioning of everything, a collapse of that, a death, and then a rebirth.
Yeah.
And then you just get better at it. And then, so
Also,
like,
the people that you leave behind, because undoubtedly there are going to be people
that's
that get
been
left
hard.
behind and you can't bring with you
I
because
actually
they're
had
not ready.
I had the worst year actually last year. I had to like really leave some people behind, and that was really difficult. That I
Crazy.
had a lot of grief that I had to face. And
Yeah.
then out of that came out so many different beautiful experiences at the same
Mhm.
time.
It's making room for other people who are more heart-minded, like-minded to come into
Yeah.
your life, to
Yeah.
expand your community, your circle of friends, your circle of people. It's just making room. Those people just aren't ready. And they may come back in at some point, who
Mhm.
knows?
Mhm.
May not, some may not, because they're not awakened. So
Yeah.
they can't understand and they can't go along that part of the journey with you. So you
Yeah.
have no choice but to leave them behind.
I think the hard part is when I get villainized for what I do and who I
Mhm.
am and how I don't apologize for who I am in a lot of ways. And obviously, accountability is a huge part. You're
Oh,
going to
for
have to take
sure.
accountability no matter what. If I hurt someone, that was never my intention.
Yeah.
But I always say it's trauma leading. So when trauma's leading, and when you're as a shadow worker as well, I'm someone who highlights people's subconscious parts.
Mhm.
And these parts are, they avoid them like the plague, right? So when I'm in a room or in a space or I'm around someone for a very long period, I'm highlighting those aspects because they want integration, they want
Mhm.
healing, they're desiring that. When they
Yeah.
say, I want to manifest, or I want to integrate, or I want to change, or I want to do something new, they don't register. You have to go through a death in order to rebirth this new
Rebirth. Yep.
aspect of
You're
yourself.
becoming someone new.
Exactly. And sometimes a projection of that is tough. It's tough.
People aren't ready to receive, people aren't
Mm-mm.
ready to look within,
Mm-mm.
because that's,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest piece, is they've got to look within. And
Yeah.
we don't, a lot of people don't like looking within because they don't like what they see.
Shadow workers act like big mirrors, right? So,
Mhm.
like, I'm holding up a mirror all day, every day. And sometimes I'm unconsciously saying something that your subconscious wants you to know. I'm
Yeah.
highlighting a fear of yours, I'm highlighting an insecurity of yours.
Mhm.
And that's been difficult for me because that's caused so much grief through the
I'm
process.
sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, that process has not been a good one. But, I'm all in with what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
there was a moment, like I said, when you're going through your spiritual awakenings, as you hit those
Mhm.
layers, as you're going
Yeah.
through like peeling the layer of the onion and you
Mhm.
keep desiring to move up the vibrational scale, you have to let go of what's weighing you down.
Yeah.
And so I had such immense grief and such a huge abandonment wound that was being highlighted last year. And it was like, wow, okay, you cannot self abandon anymore. Like, you didn't even register that by giving your power away or not speaking up here or not doing
Mhm.
this, you're giving your power away.
Yeah.
And so that was a big lesson last year, but I'm always going through the lessons and then I teach.
Yeah,
Right?
the lessons are always going to come because we're
Mhm,
continually evolving as human beings. So there's always going to be growth. There's always going to be expansion. So we have to be ready for that and be able
mhm.
to receive it and move forward with it. So what have your spiritual gifts taught you about the human experience, and what do most people get wrong about their own power?
So, my spiritual gifts have taught me that I am not alone, that there is a bigger energy, a bigger picture, a bigger mission, a bigger collective experience. And my journey is to help people understand that there is more after death, and that comes in so many facets. And then, as far as when it comes to, what was the second part of your question? Sorry, that was a good
What
one.
do no, what do most people get wrong about their own power?
Oh, yeah. So what most people get wrong, I wouldn't say that they get it wrong. I just think that people like to be right.
Yes.
And so sometimes they don't want to acknowledge what it is that's blocking them from living their best potential. They just don't want to deal with the addiction. They don't want to deal with the avoidance. They don't want to deal with the awakening. They don't want to
Mhm.
deal with letting go of something and dealing with the grief of it. So they're not willing to embrace the beauty in the pain.
Mhm.
They're not willing to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
And so
The
I think
unknown's
that,
scary.
yeah, it's scary. And I understand that. And I think that is something that people struggle with the most, and then
Yeah.
their ego gets the best of them. That protector comes in and
Yes. Yep.
starts to create the narrative, which I call the victim mentality. It's
Mhm.
like it's creating the narrative of what they think is actually going on, and it's
It
hard
starts doing its
it's
job.
hard because
Yeah.
me being someone who can read all of this, and I know from a physical perspective, and even what they're saying they believe is a truth, that their energy is communicating something completely different.
Funny that. How has your journey as a psychic medium and spiritual teacher transformed your own life and personal beliefs?
It's made me really understand the evolution of death and how it really isn't just like loss and someone just is here today and gone tomorrow. It's like their consciousness is forever accessible. It's helped me really go into the depths of the concept of death. And like I said, like the death and the rebirth, the shadow emotions part. It's really helped me. Like, I'm not scared to go into the unknown. And I don't need ayahuasca or another kind of thing. As a shaman, everyone associates themselves
Mhm.
with like these micro dosing of
Plant
these,
medicine stuff.
right,
Yeah.
awaken you. And I'm like,
Yep.
if you could just access your inner child, all of that will integrate just as quick. And
Wow.
so as like a modernized shaman, my ability to go into people's pain, people's conscious parts, like I'm not afraid to touch that. Whereas
Yeah.
if you go to a therapist, they don't want to go there. They want to stay very topical. And I've had a
Mhm.
lot of clients come to me and be like, I've been in therapy for 15 years.
Yeah. I've
I'm
heard a
not,
lot of that.
I'm not changing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And within 1 hour, I'm like, these are the
Mhm.
reasons why. And I have to go into these aspects of yourself and integrate these
Mhm.
traumas. And the person comes out of it and goes, I finally feel relief. Like I finally feel a sense of relief. I'm
Within
not
one
scared.
session
Yeah.
versus 15 years in
Yeah.
therapy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. And the whole death piece of it, the mortality, facing our own mortality, it's a tough
Mhm.
fucking thing to face.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just sat a little while ago because of an experience and thought about all of this stuff and our own mortality, and it made me think about a lot of things. And one of the things, a couple of things. One of them was we always hear people say when there's funerals or when there's been loss, oh, I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to do
Mm.
this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to tell that person I love them. I'm going to go on that trip. And they stay in that belief system for a little while, and
Mhm.
then life happens and they get back into their same old groove and they don't do it. They don't
Mhm.
follow through. And everyone's guilty. I've done it. Many people have done it.
Yeah.
And then the other piece was around soul contracts and thinking about all of that stuff. And it made me think about the fact that people that die young, they've fulfilled their contract. And the reason that they have left this earthly plane, in my belief, this is what gives me solace. This is what helps
Mhm.
me, it brings me comfort around all
Mhm.
of this thing when I think about death and mortality and all of these things, is that they have fulfilled their contract here on the earthly plane, and they have much bigger work to do on the other side.
100%.
And that's
Yeah.
why they're being called. And as it's sad, like you think about kids, young kids that
Mhm.
passed from cancer or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And part of me started thinking, how can a 2-year-old have fulfilled their contract here already? How is
'Cause
that
they're a
even
catalyst
possible?
for healing.
Yeah.
They're a catalyst for
So,
healing.
but they have much bigger things to do on the other
Mhm.
side that they cannot possibly accomplish here.
Yep.
And so that thinking about it that way, it hit me like a fucking ton of bricks
Yeah.
a, a week
I
ago
like
thinking
that
about
you're at
this.
that level of consciousness, that you have that awareness, having a normal, like a conversation with someone in the third dimensional perspective, and they're in it. They can't separate
No,
that understanding.
no.
And so there's a lot of truth in what you're saying when it comes to soul contracts and it comes to the experience of what is and what will be on the other end of that, the evolution of that experience
Mhm,
and the catalyst of the awakening that needed to happen in the family dynamic and that
mhm,
lineage and that ancestral line that
mhm.
was just not getting it,
Yeah. It
just
just
not evolving.
Yeah, it just it makes sense. It brings me such comfort to think about it that way.
Mhm.
And that's what I have to believe in order to make sense of it all. The only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I
When you
mean,
think about younger people dying
yeah, it's so
at
sad.
such a young age, this is the only thing I can use or bring into my knowing to make sense of what
Mhm.
seems to be senseless.
Yeah, I think that if we leaned, well, we had the awareness of what that truth actually is, what you're saying is there's valid, there's truth in
Mm,
that. There's a very huge understanding from the other side that it's this consciousness that's coming in, this soul energy, and it's served its purpose to the degree that it needs to. And now there's going to be an evolution of consciousness. And there's a lot of beauty in that. There's a lot of healing in that. And it's really difficult at the same time from a third dimensional perspective.
for sure.
No,
For sure.
no parent ever wants to lose a child.
No, of course not that,
Ever.
because you're always supposed to go. The conditioning and the thinking is that the parent is supposed to go before the child.
100%.
Natural order of things.
But if I was to sit down and look at the lineage and the belief systems and the behavior patterns and the dysfunction in the family dynamics, I would understand how this was of service.
Mm.
So it's like the bigger picture as to why, right?
Well, it's always bigger than us. It
Yeah.
always is.
Yeah.
Everything is so much bigger than us. Our missions here on this planet, our soul contracts, the work we're sent here to do, it's so much bigger than all of us.
Which is hard. It's also very difficult for healers or intuitives or people who are just shamans or shadow workers or whatever you want to call yourself, or just someone who wants to awaken to that, to stick to that process. Because you said something earlier about people falling back into their old patterns and old comfort zones. It's like, I desire to change. Okay. But then there's no change.
Yeah.
And then but then things are going to show up. Lessons are going to show up. They're going to keep the resistance of that inability to change, going to keep highlighting more.
The lessons will keep coming.
So I think like the beauty of that too is that the universe is always working in our favor. It is never, ever working against us. It hears us communicate to it and it says yes. And then we go, oh, okay. It's either you're going to go the path of least resistance or you're going to be in a state of resistance. And then you're going to have that lesson hit you in the face and then another one. So eventually, to some degree, you may not accomplish all the things that you were here to do, and no one on the other side expects you to either. The conversation of karma can kick into this. However, at the end of the day, it's like the universe is still going to give you the opportunities, and it may come in, like I said, I was so resistant for such a long time with my gifts, even though I was using them incrementally here or whatever, but I didn't actually choose to step into that until I got sick. Until I had that moment of that awakening.
There's also the self-awareness piece. You have to be aware to see the signs, to recognize them when they come through.
Yeah. And then sometimes people just want, can you give me another sign? Can you give me another sign? Can you give me more? Can you tell me more of like, why don't you just trust what you just saw?
Well, that's
There's the two, right? There's the extreme of both experiences, right? We're like constant need of external validation and constant need of that process to be real for them. People want it to be tangible.
Yes.
And it's hard to explain energy. It's so difficult to even explain what I do sometimes. Full energy, the concept of that, the third dimensional brain can't rationalize.
Yeah,
and so that is also interesting of how people respond to that.
So, Christina, what does it mean to you to lead spiritually in a world that often values speed, noise? We get bombarded with shit all the time. It's constantly coming at us, and ego over depth and truth.
I just try my best. Honestly, all I can do is try my best. Wake up every day and try my best. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't like it to make it too complex because then I get lost in that too. Like then I'm like, oh, hold on, there's a pull to. And because I'm also on social media and like I do so many other things, as an intuitive, I'm picking up everyone's stuff all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a 21-day detox from my phone right now and it's not like I'm not on my phone, but what I was doing, I was feeding into this experience, picking up my phone first thing in the morning. Let me see everything that's going on. Let me engage in every experience. And I was like, I cannot do that as an intuitive. I have to simplify my life. I have to come back to myself. I need to sleep better. I need to eat better. Like I need to take care of myself. And I think that to me is like my highest priority is like, how can I simplify this? And then I always ask myself, like, will this matter in 5 years? Is there a reason for me to engage in this right now or to have this experience? Like, what is this going to look like in 5 years for me? As well as, is this something that matters to me? Like, I don't want to do something just because someone says I should. I don't want to do something because I think I should. So I am always, and like maybe it's a little too much sometimes, it's like I'm always trying to analyze that and understand from an intuitive perspective what makes sense for me. And my timing, I think too, like it's like we get into the concept of we're running out of time.
Yeah.
And I'm
for
like,
sure.
I don't think that's the case. I could,
Time doesn't exist. Time is a creation that
you
we
know,
have created in our own
exactly.
minds.
It's not so linear in
No,
experience. And I've said to myself, like, where are you
that's a
running
hard one
to?
to wrap your fucking
Yeah.
head around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
a hun-
really tough.
Yes. And I have to constantly remind myself, like, where am I running to? If I don't accomplish this right now, who's to say I won't accomplish it in 7 years from now? And
7 days from now.
exactly. And it's giving me the grace. I think I like to give myself the grace in that instead of me forcing myself to feed into the system so much.
Love it. Beautiful. What are some of the most profound spiritual insights or truths that you've uncovered through the work you do?
Aliens exist.
I already knew that one.
You know I was going to throw that in there. They exist. Oh my God, there's so many. I wish I could. This
One
would
of the
take,
biggest ones that just knocked your socks off.
I think it was really engaging in the concept that everything's a mirror in your reality and registering that every single person or every single experience that I was attracting is me. I had to be like, that's you, and that's you, and that's you, and that's you. And I was like, oh my God, it's so exhausting. I'm exhausted. But that was profound at a point in time, especially when I was operating more in 5D. Then when I started moving up the vibrational scale is understanding the different laws in every different dimension. So that was really profound for me because I was like, oh, so this law that now you operate in 4D is so different in 7D. Like the concepts, the understanding of it, the way you're operating with it, totally different. And then it was just the understanding of trauma. It was like seeing the patterns and having my guides come in and be like, this is that, this is where this is coming from. And then trusting that what I'm communicating is exactly what the person in front of me needed to hear. So it was like layering these experiences, layering all of these truths, and now understanding how I can go through third dimensional to 10D. And that's the range that I can operate in consistently. And it was believing in that. And registering that every single person that I'm going to come in connection with is going to need a different law. It's not so cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So these were like some interesting, profound truths for me. And then there was just like personal things that they said to me about me as an individual, me listening, that even just warning me like, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
Like this experience for you is going to be really tough. And you're good, but you're going to get through it. It was as simple as you're going to be okay. And that to me is profound because like we're always anxious. We're always like, it needs to be done right. It needs to be perfect. Like, why is this happening to me? Life is so unfair. There's that like
it's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Exactly. And that small little, it's going to be okay. Don't worry, we've got your back and the universe has your back was like the biggest.
It sounds so trite and simple. Like, when we look at that, the victim mentality, why is this happening? No, if you're able to, and again, all of this stuff takes work, right? So you have to be able to take yourself out of this situation, stand outside of it, look in and see, wait a minute, there's a lesson in here. There's something, there's a silver lining, there's some gold, there's something there for me to learn, to take with me moving forward so that I can improve on this experience. And what seems like at times the worst fucking thing possible to be happening ends up being the best possible thing.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's also a form of safety.
It's a mindset shift though.
It's also a form of safety action. Like when you're asking your guides and your angels or God or whomever you're praying to, connecting to, you're asking for protection. Then they're highlighting the thing that's causing you unsafety.
That's uncomfortable.
And they're saying, do you see? This is a situation right now that's causing unsafety in your life. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And then you have to acknowledge that just because it seems like you're being left out or you're being abandoned or something bad's happening, that's for your protection. Shouldn't be sitting at that table, eating that food, having that experience.
Yeah.
That doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
That's the redirection. That's the
Yeah.
universe always working in your favor.
Always. Absolutely. Christina, if your soul wrote a letter to the world, what would the very first line say? And what would it never apologize for?
Oof, that's a good question. I think my soul would communicate. The first line would be, it's not so complicated.
Okay.
And I wouldn't apologize for constantly showing people the truth.
Love it. What is the spiritual lesson that humanity is being called to learn right now at this moment as a collective?
Yeah, this one's a big one. We're in a divide consciously right now, and we need to learn how to heal our internal conflicts, the parts of us that we reject the most or disown. And we need to challenge old belief systems and limitations big time because the divide's moving towards like old school religious view, taking women's powers and rights away. Like, come on, people need to wake up to that truth.
Oh,
And
people
then,
need to wake up to a lot of truths.
yeah, this is why I'm not apologizing for the shit that I say. The reality is that we are caught in this paradox right now. And what I would recommend people to do is sit with parts of themselves that are in conflict, internal conflicts, and then choose to see the truth. Choose it, actually actively move towards it, as uncomfortable as it may be. Go in that direction of uncomfortability because we need awakening. We need more
Oh,
people
for sure.
to own and to stand up. Like people are not even talking. Holy, I don't even know what to say either. And I get it. I'm like, if I say this, will I get canceled? Like, what is happening right now? There's a lot of that. And
Yeah.
I think that people need to stand up more for what's real and what the truth is.
Yes. People are scared to speak out, though. I have never seen
Yeah.
in my time on this planet so much divisiveness and hatred
Yes.
among people. It is
Yes.
absolutely disgusting and
It is
sad.
awful. It is awful. And the worst part of it, it's starting at the home front and then it's starting in our community of people around us.
I don't think people know what community is anymore.
No,
I think it's lost.
no,
It's
it's so gone. It's territorial. It's very everyone, yes, it's very narcissistic. We have a lot of narcissism, a lot of narcissistic adaptations right now. I wouldn't say everyone's a narcissist because it's a whole other conversation, but I would say there's some adaptation in behavior. And I feel like the threat, because everyone's nervous system is so dysregulated. Like I said to you, when you're on your phone and you're looking at all the things that are happening in the world, we weren't programmed to have that much access. We weren't supposed to know what was going on in a different country from where you are right now, because vibrationally, it wasn't supposed to be like that. It has caused so much nervous system dysregulation that we're all operating in survival.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing how people are reacting, even just to me, the rejection, the pushback, there's something about your energy that I don't like. And it's so interesting because I'm like, you don't like my energy because it's a mirror. The mirror is showing up right now and it's highlighting the things that you're avoiding. And so that's what I would say to people. If you want to know more, just be in the space of my vicinity and we'll just talk about what's being highlighted.
I love it.
It's that internal conflict that I would say we need to come whole again. We need to understand unity and community, and we need to collaborate, and we need to support one another, and we need to advocate for one another. We need to advocate for women. Women need to step into their divine feminine. We demasculated men as well. They don't know what their roles are anymore. They don't know how to step into the divine masculine energy. Oh, I can go on and on about this.
All of these things need to this could be an entire podcast episode alone. There's so much shit that needs to shift, and we all need to come together. We are a big part of why we're all here is to do exactly these things, to support each other, to cheerlead each other, to lift each other, to collaborate, to bring community back into the world. And love is the highest vibration of all. We need to get to this point where we all just, and it sounds silly, but Can't we all just get along? What the
I
fuck are we
know. That's
fighting
why I
for?
said it's
It's
not so
ridiculous.
complicated. I said it.
No.
I was like, it's not so complicated. It's so simple. If you just put aside the survival and the threat and someone's going to take something from me,
Yeah.
it's like nobody's taking anything from you. The
There's
universe
more
is
than enough to
so
go around.
abundant.
Yes.
Like the
Yes.
universe
Yes.
is so abundant. What makes you think that I want what you have? I want what I want. Why do and I want to celebrate what you have? Like,
Yes, exactly.
and I think like people don't know how to respond to that because like
No.
that in itself is a threat because I could walk into a room and feel confident in being me and owning what I have, and someone will feel threatened by that. And I'm not trying to threaten you.
No.
That's your own insecurity that you need to work through.
That's that mirror.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I chose a really hard path. Someone said that to me. I went out to get a healing session, a Akashic healing session years ago. And she's, oh, girl, you chose a hard path. And I was like, no. She's like, so I'm like, I know.
How can someone begin to learn to trust their intuition when the world around them tells them to silence it?
Yeah, intuition is, we all have our God-given right to listen to our intuition and to tune into ourselves. The unfortunate part is that we're not choosing to slow our lives down and check in. So intuition is a softness within us. It's an inner knowing within us. I think too, if you get really clear with healing trauma, you will understand which level of intuition you lead with. For instance, if you're someone whose nervous system is constantly dysregulated because of your environmental things in your childhood, and that's how you responded, you would then lead with clairsentient. You would be someone who senses, empathizes more. And that would be a great way for you to lean into that direction of that intuition. If you're someone who, for instance, can have a lot of flashbacks or memories or remember your traumatic experiences, or even just have like little intuitive insights or your dreams, if you can just tap into that a little bit more, you know that clairvoyance is what you're leading with. Clairaudient is usually, there's a lot of voices in my head. There's a lot of like opinions going on. There's a lot of stories happening in my experience. It's okay. So let's declutter that. Let's get grounded. Let's figure out what your true voice is, what you're truly hearing, what your internal dialogue is. And if we can clear the clutter out a little bit more, you would then, clairaudience would then be something that would be actively something that you can lean on to. And then there's claircognizance, which is just knowing. And these people, which is what I operate with, are the ones that can have a lot of understanding around pattern recognition. So you recognize that things are going to go in a specific way. Now, based on trauma, we're looking at it like an anticipation of it, assuming something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Pattern recognition can be really great if you know yourself very well. So you have to have a very solid sense of who you are. And these types of individuals suffer the most with rejection wounds, abandonment wounds, all of that. So you have to really sit with your rejection and all of that. So I would say you got to get clear on your trauma to really understand which intuition you lead with. And then once you understand that, then it'll get a little easier for you to listen a little bit more. Now there's like obvious things that you could do, like meditate more, declutter your experiences around you, remove situations that are obviously causing you harm. These are the physical aspects of things that you can do. The more you just listen to the inner nudges, it gets better. But I'm going to say even specifically right now with how much pressure and resistance we've got going on, if we could just unlock the trauma, we'll access the intuition faster.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for that. What daily practices or rituals do you follow to maintain your spiritual health and effectiveness?
I'm constantly checking in with myself, and I'm immersed in my spirituality every single day. So I live, breathe, and I am this consistently.
The embodiment.
All of it. I used to think that there was a bit of an issue with that because I thought like I used to have a huge meditation practice, but I recognize that I'm in that state all the time because I've conditioned it for me. Yeah. But like I said, currently I just try to do like little challenges for myself. Every day I'm like, okay, put the phone away or go out for the walk or eat some high vibrational foods, drink more water, put a crystal in your water. I like putting a crystal in my water just to bless it in some way. I will wear crystals sometimes, especially depending, or I have crystals all around me all the time. Yeah. But I don't journal and I don't have a gratitude process. I choose to be with my shadows.
Okay.
So my personal practice is, oh, you're feeling anxiety. Let's go in it. Chris, what's going
Yeah.
on here? What's happening right now? Oh, you're feeling shame right now. I actually last week was all in my abandonment wounds. And I was sitting consistently and I was like, I'm not going to abandon myself. I'm going to figure out what this layer is. That's more of my process and
Okay.
practice. And then it's just being grounded enough to do what I need to do for my clients. It's always
Okay.
about tuning in collectively and
Mhm.
listening to my intuition, my guides, and being like, what do we need to focus on this week? And what do we need to help people with? So I try to make that very open and clear. I always want to
Yeah.
have a clear, centered channel.
Okay. How do you define your soul's purpose, and has that evolved over time through the work you do?
I don't like putting myself in the position of labeling certain things as I'm going through it. I think while I was starting off, it was to help myself because I didn't
Right.
understand myself. And it's still that. I'm still learning so much about myself every single day. Soul purpose is one of those things that can be very complicated for people to understand because everyone assumes it's a job. They assume it's career. They
Mhm.
assume it's what they came here to do. And your sole purpose could just be hugging people and
Mhm.
like showing up for them and giving them presents. You don't necessarily have to get paid for it. I think everyone's made the connection or has branded it as something that is a mission or something that you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And if you're not doing it, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I like to remind people that soul energy and soul purpose is just to live your life. You're just here to have the experience.
Mhm.
And that's your soul's purpose. Soul's purpose is about expansion. Soul's purpose is about evolution. Soul's purpose is about integration. Soul's purpose is about the buffet of experiences. And nobody says that I can choose to walk away from this to a degree and do something completely different if that's the soul's way of communicating. It's time for you to have that experience. So I think that for me, it just feels like tuning into myself every single day and choosing my experience for the day, and that's what my soul wants to lead, and that's my purpose for the day.
Beautiful.
Some people may look at it as their mission, and if that's something that feels good, then let it lead. I always say let your soul lead.
Excellent. Love that. That is beautiful. Because you're right. People do naturally associate soul purpose or purpose with, oh, I'm here to do this work. This is what I was brought here to do. And I think about that way, that my purpose is to, part of my purpose is to have this platform that I've created, help elevate and amplify the voices of women. And I wholeheartedly believe that, but that's not everything.
No.
Yes, of course, we're here to experience life, to live life, to have these life experiences. We are souls having a human experience,
That
right?
sole purpose could be you being a great teacher, could be a great mom, could be a
Mhm.
great friend. Really comes in so many different facets. That's
Yeah,
why I just don't want everyone to associate it with career path all the time.
yeah, yeah, which is what we naturally do.
Yeah.
What is one of the most profound or unforgettable messages that you've ever received from the spirit realm? One that like really cracked your heart wide open and changed your perspective forever.
That's a good question. I've had so many of those because I feel like every reading that I have is so different and so unique in its own process. I think at the beginning, when I first started giving readings and not really understanding what I was saying or what I was doing, a child came through and they had lost their child through them being sick. And this child came through and gave me such a message about, again, like going back into the conversation we had earlier
Mhm.
about its job and it's still here and it's still working with mom and it's still connecting. And I normally am very good at staying like neutral in my
Mhm.
sessions because I work with a lot of trauma. I work with a lot of in depth wounds and stuff. And so I try to stay very centered.
Yeah.
I cried throughout that whole entire reading, but not because it was sad, but
Mhm.
because it was just so beautiful. Like it was one of those moments where I was like, if I could tell someone what life looks like after death, and here's this soul energy coming through right now, this is what I would want people to understand. That was the moment that I thought to myself, like, oh my God, no, there is life after death. And there's
Yeah.
so much more to this. And I know that from a third dimensional perspective, we're looking at this as like a child, but
Mhm.
this isn't a child. This is an old soul that I'm communicating.
Yeah.
And this old soul came in with so much wisdom and so much insight. It not only cracked me open, it cracked her open too, because we were having this moment, this shared experience that didn't feel like we were in the third dimensional anymore. We were literally in a completely different world. And she was like, I've never had this experience. And I'm like, I've never had this experience. And that was something that I can take away. I like sometimes it's just like the simple things like a pet comes through, or like I've integrated a trauma and I've retrieved a soul fragment. And that's been really cool.
Yeah.
But every single healing, every single reading I've ever done has changed me.
That's powerful.
It made me understand more layers of the world, of consciousness, of spirit, and of myself.
Wow. And I know that loved ones come through when you're doing readings for people, and they come through for different reasons. But what would you say that our loved ones on the other side most want us to know? And why do you think we have such a hard time listening?
We have a hard time listening because we're caught in fear. We're caught in cycles of limitation and survival. And that's part of the process too. We have to go through that. We have to have
Yeah.
those limitations in order for us to experience the buffet of experiences.
Hmm.
I think spirit just wants us to know that we're not alone, that we're being divinely guided. There is a higher understanding and purpose in consciousness here. And that even though the assumption is death, it really isn't death, it's rebirth consistently. And that's the cycle of life. And so they want us to have an awareness of the cycle of life and the purpose of life and why we need to have life and why we need to continue having expansion and why we need to keep having this evolution of self. And I think it's because the more we do, the more we awaken. Our planet right now is going through so much. And Mother Gaia overall Mother Earth wants us to awaken to so much more as well. So it's like we don't always have to be outside of ourselves to try to connect to spirit. Spirit wants us to come into ourselves to connect with Earth,
Yeah. Okay.
to awaken these parts of ourselves,
Okay.
to heal this planet. And then that, of course, creates more expansion.
And helps to heal the collective.
Yeah.
When you channel spirit, what does that feel like in your body, your mind, and soul? And is it a conversation? Is it a knowing? Is it an image? As you talked about the clairs, or is it something else completely different, something entirely different?
So it's funny because when I wake up in the morning, I'll start to feel certain things. Like I'll start to feel like certain ailments or certain, depending on who I'm working with the day. And then I'll just jot that down and be like, okay, this is what this person's going through right now. Or their like sacral chakra right now is off balance and I got to balance that. Remember that, jot that down. So it's like having a meeting with the collective in the morning about
A
what
board
the day
meeting.
is going to look like and what you're going to be put in and all that. So it very much is like sitting down and jotting down a lot of this information consistently. And then when I'm in, I'm locked in. So when I'm in, I'm fully immersed into that person's experience. I've locked into them. And then it's just a deliberation between my guides and their guides. And they're talking and I'm just channeling that information in. So it is a knowing, it's clairaudient, it's clairsentient. It's a whole combination of them depending on who I'm working with as well. It doesn't, sometimes it could feel really energizing. And then sometimes it could just feel, that was really heavy. And now I need to like take a minute to recoup. But if I'm like busy throughout the day, I'm on. So like I could be seeing 4 or 5 clients and I'm like, okay, next, okay, next, okay, next, because this energy is just coming in. If I'm hosting an event, I recently just did last October, I did an event and I'd never done this because I just didn't want it to be performative. I didn't want it to be something like this. But it was more just because it was coming from a higher perspective. They were like, listen, you need to start doing events where you're bringing in people and talking to them about their guides and their spiritual team and their deceased loved ones. But also, we're going to come in from a 9th, 10th dimensional perspective and to do some other layers of healing. And that was really cool because I had never experienced anything like that. Because I was like, there's a room full of people right now and you want me to give everyone a message? What are we talking about right now?
Fuck?
Yeah. And they're like, go. And when I was on, it was like, boom. And I thought to myself, what am I doing right now? Sane. But that was a really cool experience. And so
Amazing.
I want to embody more of that, or the
Mhm.
ability to hold more space for more people in a room, not
Yeah.
just one-on-one, but in a
Yeah.
room.
Okay.
So they're training me for that right now. Yeah.
What is one spiritual truth that you resisted for a long time because it required you to become someone you were not ready to be yet?
Losing people. I didn't want to believe that. I was just like, and people that I genuinely wholeheartedly loved. I thought were family, ride or die people that were going to be
Yeah.
with me until I'm an old person. And they were like, they're just not going to come with you. And that's painful. That was hard because they were support systems for me too.
Mhm.
I felt like finally I belonged to something as well. And I felt like I had this connection. They're like, you're meant to lead, which means you're going to be alone. It's not going to be that you don't have people in your life and that people don't love
Mhm.
you and that they don't care about you. And even those people who are far in the distance now, subconsciously, they still do love you and they still do care
Yeah.
about you. But that was hard. And I'm still having a hard time with that because last year it was that message consistently. And like the thought of it makes me like the grief comes up so
Mhm.
hard and I get so emotional about it because I don't want to lose anybody. I don't
Yeah,
like,
you wanna bring
I
everyone.
want to bring everybody and I
Mhm.
want everybody to feel the love and feel
Yeah.
the connection. And I want everybody to integrate their traumas. And it's just not going to work like that.
As we said earlier, some people just aren't ready for it, and some people never will be ready for it. They
And
have
that's
to
why,
stay where they are,
yeah,
and you moving on is a lesson for them too.
exactly.
So, we have to keep that up here and in mind too.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever had an encounter with a past version of yourself through spirit, meditation, or memory, and what message did she give you?
Past version. When I do inner child work, I'm constantly talking to the past version of myself and I'm
Mhm.
reparenting or reintegrating these parts of myself. So that's easy. I had an encounter with a future version of myself.
Oh.
And the future version of myself was very interesting. I thought to myself, like, there's no way that you're going to be operating like this. And they're like,
Mhm.
just you wait and see. And I was like, okay.
Trust,
So
trust, and allow.
so like it's easy for me to say I'm constantly meeting past versions of myself. I
Mhm.
need to in order to be able to do this work. And these versions of myself have showed me how much I hate myself, reject myself. I felt the shame, the pain, the experiences, or even just I love you. And that has been really fascinating to even see the fragments of all these parts of myself. But I love meeting those versions of myself and I'm fully immersed in that. The future version of myself, when you have a hard time like letting go of certain parts, hey, by the way, it's going to look like this moving forward.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, and that came into meditation, right? It
Mm.
came into a meditation. I had asked to view my future version of who I was. And they were like, get ready. And I was like, all right, I don't know what that means, but I'll try my
Okay.
best.
What do you wish, since we've talked about death, what do you wish every person understood about death? Not as an ending, but as a transition.
I think people need to come to terms that we're all going to die anyways. I don't think people they register that on a like a subconscious unconscious level and we're doing everything in our life to outrun death. And so if you could just accept that someday at some point you will leave, then make life worth it. Choose to change. Choose to deal with your shit. Choose to be a better parent, be a better friend, whatever that looks like. Walk away from the thing that doesn't serve you anymore. Choose it.
Choose to live.
Yeah, it's just be immersed in the experience that you're having right now. And yes, it's hard. Most people are walking outside of their bodies and they're too scared to live because they're so concerned about death.
So preoccupied with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy when you
Yeah.
think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are not living your life because you're worried about not living.
Yes.
But you're not living. You're already
I
living.
literally had
You're
that
already not
conversation
living.
yesterday with a client. We were sitting down and I said to them, I'm like, you're so scared. You desire all these things. You want to have a baby. You want to have a husband. You want to have a family. You want to have
Mhm.
all these experiences, but you have a limited belief around death. I'm like, and you're operating with that, which is preventing all of these other beautiful experiences right now.
You're preventing yourself from living.
And she was just like, oh, I didn't even realize that I was doing that. I was like, yeah, like that's what's happening right now. And
Sit with
so
that.
100%. So we had to do some work on that.
It's powerful, though. It's a powerful thought for sure. If every woman on the planet could hear one message from spirit today, what would that message be?
Don't be afraid to step into your divine feminine, because that's the true warrior.
I love it. What legacy do you hope to leave behind, not just through your gifts, but through the way that you've chosen to live and love while you're here?
I think just my imprint of consciousness, meaning I would just want people to have accessibility to the knowledge and wisdom that I have, whatever that would look like. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm still understanding more parts of myself, but I don't know what that would look like. I don't know how that would translate. But even if it's just my energy still being around, the experiences of people, the next generations to come, that would matter.
Yeah.
I think it matters.
Okay.
And I think that would be accessible to people. And it would come in forms like, often my clients will say, you came in a dream, or it would come in a form of a symbolism, or it would come in a form of maybe even me being a guide for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I definitely do want to leave an imprint of energy for sure.
Okay. Now, as mentioned, Christina, off the top, you're also a published author. Can you tell us all about the book, what the title is, subject matter, when was the book released, what was the inspiration behind writing it, and what was that experience for you, putting it out into the world?
So my book is called Embrace Your Shadows, and it is a guide book all about inner child healing and embracing your big feelings, your shadow emotions. This is something that I had been working on for a very long time. We're talking about years, but I just didn't know how to put it into a practical way. And I wanted it to be tangible for people to use, whether you're at the beginning stage of healing or an advanced stage of healing. This is a good way to come back to consistently. It has a lot of information in there. It's as if you're going through a one-on-one session. It's got journal prompts. It's got meditations in there that you can personally record. I would rather people record their own voice, their own going through that process and listening through that for themselves. The book came out of my grief. Last year, I went through a massive loss in my life. I lost some friends that I thought were going to be in my life and in my experience for a very long time. And I got really angry when they did what they did. And it became a bit of a motivator as well to finally put the work out. My clients had been asking, my guides had been asking, like, it's time, you need to do this. And I was like, okay, now and this is my issue. My issue is anger motivates me, unfortunately. Maybe the Greek in me, I don't know, but anger does motivate me to a degree, because I was just like, I don't know what to do this and I don't know where to channel this information in grief right now. So I was like, put it towards this. And this then became something that was birthed, and I'm so grateful. So I announced it officially on June 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And June 28th, I had a soft launch book signing and book release party, which was great. And I'm so grateful for everybody who came out to that. And now it's just going to be about talking more about the book, promoting more of the book, and putting more of this out there so that it's easy and accessible for somebody, especially if they don't know where to start. I always get that question. What's the work? How do I start the work? I'm like, now you have something tangible to start the work with.
We'll put the link in the show notes so people can check the book out and pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Congratulations. That's huge. A lot of so many people say they want to write their book and they never end up doing it. So kudos to you.
Well, it's hard for me to write it too, because I'm dyslexic. So, so I have my limitations when it comes to that, but I worked really hard with the editing department and they were just like, no, this is great stuff. So let's just put this out here. Had my challenges, but it was worth it.
We'll put the link in the show notes for people to check your book out. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
What is an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
My niece. I love her so much. And she's also very intuitive. She's the next generation.
Down the family line.
However, my sister and my brother-in-law are not too keen on it. I'm like, she's got a bit of a gift. It's there.
It's within her. So it's not what she can do to stop it.
can't really prevent that from
No.
happening. And the children in my life, any children, my godchildren, my clients' children.
Yeah.
I'm just really grateful that I get to do what I do and I get to heal people and help them. I don't really look at, I don't know. I think like most people generalize these small little gifts as like these big blessings, but I just love the opportunity just to show up and try my best. And I think like that to me is a blessing to be able to do what I do and to have been able to do it for so long now, because this could have gone a completely different way for me.
For sure.
And there are moments where I'm like, oh, I don't think this is going the way that I think it is. And then the blessing shows up and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So I think the blessing also is the ability to confidently put information out.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many things. I don't know. I'm grateful for so many things.
Yeah. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
That I'm not scared of trauma, that I can go right into your stuff and I have no fear of it. I think that I'm seriously like your PTSD, sexual abuse, like big things. We're not talking about small things. We're talking about, and I can hold space for that.
Okay.
And I don't have any fear around that. I think that's my superpower. And I have the ability to really know what someone's going through energetically and help them understand that and integrate those traumas for them. That is my power.
Okay. Speaking of success, how do you define the word success? What does that word mean to you?
Balance.
Balance in
every possible way.
Okay.
If I could just have a day where it just feels like I'm centered, I'm grounded, and I've shown up, that's a successful day for me.
Okay. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Relief.
Relief?
Yeah, because I teach a lot of people about what empowerment is supposed to look like, what confidence is going to look like, how to step into all of that. What at the end of the day, what that really looks like is a solid sense of who you are. And then the relief of knowing that you could just be you without having to over-explain yourself and give your power away in any which way. So there's a sense of relief of just being me. That's like what empowerment feels like to me. It's a relief. Like I could just be me, step into that power and own it.
Love it. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type.
Oh, okay, I'll try.
You got this. I believe in you. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Truthful.
What is your go-to spiritual practice?
Shadow work.
Complete this sentence. The spirit world wants us to
integrate our trauma.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Ooh, connection.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would that one thing be?
My honesty.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My patience. Patience.
Patience? What's one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
Fearless.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I threw in a little bonus question for you.
Okay.
That I did not send you. If you could take, Christina, one feeling or one belief, bottle it up and give it to people, what would it be?
That you can experience joy.
Okay. If you could have any 3 people in the world, alive or dead, sitting at your dinner table with you, who would those 3 people be and why?
Ooh, I'd have both my grandmothers and my great-grandmother from my father's side show up.
And why?
To understand more of my ancestral lines and where these gifts and it would just be a very interesting conversation on so many levels.
And what would you serve for dinner?
Probably, that's a good one. What would I serve for dinner? So there's a Greek soup that I used to have as a kid that my grandmother used to make all the time. I used to love it. So I'd probably serve soup. And my grandmother's laughing now because she used to yell at me. Okay, I'll tell you why, because they're here with me regardless. But my mom's mom, when we were in Greece, she would often serve us hot soup and we would be sitting outside eating hot soup.
And it's hot.
And it's hot. So I'd be serving the soup.
All right. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Do you love doing what you're doing?
Okay, go ahead.
I do. And I also hate it.
The torture of the love.
It is. It's a complex, it's a love-hate relationship because with it comes so much, like I said, rejection and being villainized in a lot of ways.
Yeah. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Teal Swan. And just because her knowledge of information is so vast and she's just someone that really understands trauma.
Okay. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Save your money. Girl, save your money.
All right. Lastly, Christina, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your corner of the world, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Let's sit in silence. That's all I would say. Let's all
Okay.
sit in silence. I want everyone to experience their inner world, and I would probably guide them through that.
Beautiful. Christina, thank you so much
Oh,
for being
thank
here with me today. I
you.
have so thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I
I
love
love
talking
this.
about this
This was
stuff, and it has
great.
been phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your story, your journey, the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. I am so grateful to have you as a member of the Empowerography community and to now be able to call you a friend and have you in my world. It has been so amazing talking to you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me on. This was a beautiful experience. Thank you so much.
My pleasure and my honor. Once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Christina Prokos. She is an author, renowned psychic medium, a spiritual teacher, a shaman, shadow worker, inner child worker, and soul retrieval worker. Christina, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.